breaking news.
Hello everybody, I'm John Vors. We'd like to welcome our viewers in the United States and all around the world.
And I'm Aisha to say we are following breaking news for you in Jakarta, Indonesia, where there are reports of several explosions in the center of the city. Reuters and AFP news agencies report at least 3 people were killed.
CNN Indonesia says a police station appears to have been one of the targets. We're also hearing reports of blasts near a shopping center. It's not immediately clear who may be behind these attacks. CNN's Kathy Kiano joins us now from Jakarta on the line with more on this story. So, Kathy, give us an update exactly what's happening right now.
Well, John, I am at the site of the explosion, like a few hundred meters away. It's been cordoned off by the police, but the police spokesman, Anton Charlian, just spoke to reporters earlier, and he confirmed that there are 4 people dead, 1 policeman and 3 civilians. Now, it's not clear if these civilians were the attackers or were they just innocent civilians who happened to be at the area. And I said it's not clear, and they could not identify the body just yet. But he did say that the explosion was from a grenade or several grenades, because there were reports that there were several explosions, and these grenades were lobbed at the police station, which is at an intersection and a very busy street in central Jakarta. It's right in front of a Starbucks shop, and the UN, the building where the UN offices are, is also in the area. Now, the police spokesman also said that they are in pursuit of another attacker who escaped from the scene and who is probably armed. He said security forces are after this man now, but as we see here, there's a lot of police in the area, and he said that it's very unclear who may be behind this attack. And so far, they will not say who may be behind it. John?
So, Kathy, there's also this report of ongoing heavy gunfire in downtown Jakarta. Is that still ongoing, or is that situation now resolved with this apparent suspect fleeing the scene?
There were reports that there were actually gunfire. There was gunfire exchanged at this police station that was attacked with the grenades. Now, we're hearing also unconfirmed reports of other attacks in other parts of the city, but again, that's unconfirmed. We have no information of that as yet. So far, this area that was attacked earlier, where 4 people had died, is cordoned off. There is heavy security around here. And also on my way here, you could see that the city is on the edge. It's been a while since a major attack or a terrorist attack was launched in Jakarta, the capital, Jakarta. There have been several minor attacks outside, particularly in the provinces of Java and Sulawesi, in central Sulawesi, where police have been in pursuit of a small group calling themselves the East Indonesia Mujahideen, headed by Indonesia's most wanted terrorist, who had pledged his support to ISIS. But the police would not say for now who may be behind the attack in Jakarta today. John?
Kathy, looking at the images that we're seeing from Jakarta, it does seem to be quite a substantial blast, and there are some reports which say it was a massive explosion, which would seem to be at odds with the police explanation here that a number of grenades were used in this attack. I'm wondering, is there any way at this point to clarify what's going on here?
From what I see, it does not look like it was a major blast. The police spokesman did say grenades were used in this attack. It was a police outpost that was targeted, so you don't see a lot of damage. It's in front of it's right in the middle of an intersection, so none of the buildings surrounding it have been damaged at all, from what I see. So it is not a major blast in terms, I think, of what the explosives used, as the police said. But again, it's very early to tell what really happened here earlier today. John?
Kathy, it's Aisha here. A question for you. Prior to this attack, these events that are still playing out there in Indonesia, what was the government's assessment of the threat posed by terrorism to the nation?
Well, many government officials and terror analysts were in agreement that the terror network that was in place here in Indonesia the terror network that was responsible for the major bombings in Bali and in Jakarta years ago had been weakened, that the threat was actually quite low in terms of launching a huge attack. And that may still be true. According to terror experts here in the region, the networks have been splintered. They have smaller groups now who may not be working together and may not be capable of launching a major attack. And also, we saw a shift here in Indonesia after they bombed the resort island of Bali in 2002, and then they bombed the Marriott Hotel and the Australian Embassy here in Jakarta. There was a shift from soft targets to hard targets. The smaller terror networks here started targeting the police and government authorities. And that's why in recent years we've seen certain cases where they assassinated policemen on guard, particularly in the island of Sulawesi. And we see it now here. There's some speculation that the police was targeted in this explosion today in Jakarta. It was an outpost that supposedly the men threw grenades at. Aisha?
And Kathy, just to expand on what these explosions were and who may be responsible for it, because there have been these reports out there that possibly suicide bombers were involved in this. What more do you know about that at this point?
Yes, that is, for now, speculation. As I said, the police said there were 3 civilians who were killed on the site. They would not confirm that they were suicide bombers. There is a possibility that they were in fact the attackers of the police, and we don't know. And in terms of using grenades and suicide bombings, it's really, again, not clear what their plan was. As I mentioned earlier, the police is in pursuit of at least one attacker who was armed with a firearm who fled the scene. It's a new modus operandi, I think, in terms of terror attacks here in Indonesia. And it'll be, I'm sure the police will try to get all these questions answered very quickly. John?
And Kathy, Aisha here again. You mentioned that there was a UN building in the vicinity of the site of these explosions. Do we know anything more about what's happening at that location? Has it been cleared? Do we have any details?
I'm at the opposite end of the road. I see the building from here, and there's a lot of it's the end of the central business district, actually, that's just demarcating the business district from the government offices just down the road. The presidential palace is actually isn't far away from this area, but this particular intersection is quite busy, especially at this hour, where people are going out for lunch, for their lunch breaks, and it's a major intersection. There's a huge market just down the road as well, and if they wanted some maximum effect, perhaps, and this would have been a good choice for a target. Aisha?
Okay, Kathy, if you could just stand by for a moment, because we have Maya Kusamayanti, who is a witness there in Jakarta. She joins us now on the line. So Maya, if you could just explain to us exactly what have you actually seen over the last hour or so? What's actually been happening in Jakarta from your point of view?
Yeah, actually, it was lunchtime. So I thought, previously, I thought it's only like a big raining. Then my office friend.
I think we have lost the line to Maya there, unfortunately, but she was about to explain that one of these blasts actually happened in front of her office block. So she's obviously in that part of the central Jakarta which has been hit by what appears to be a very coordinated attack. Let's just go back to Kathy Quijano one more time now, because Kathy, there are these reports of this crackdown which has been carried out over the last couple of weeks, and so Indonesia was very much on high alert. A lot of people now want to know what is the connection with that police crackdown, with Islamic State, and maybe possibly what has happened in Jakarta over the last hour.
That's right, John. The police and military, for the first time, had joint operations. They launched joint operations in December through January 9. They were trying to go after a network that was headed by this figure called Santoso. He's Indonesia's most wanted terrorist now. He claims to head the East Indonesia Mujahideen. He's based out of Poso in central Sulawesi. So the center of operations were actually in that area, but they also combed through many areas of Central Java and West Java, known to be strongholds as well for supporters of radical networks in Indonesia. In Bandung, West Java, for example, there was a small Molotov attack as well on New Year's Eve. They had reportedly also arrested a few people who were behind that. But again, these seemed to be very low level, low intensity attacks, and there was the consensus that a major attack was not possible now with the capability of the terror cells that are here in Indonesia. But of course, that might be changing. We know that a few hundreds of Indonesians have traveled to Syria. A few of them have come back as well. The police are monitoring these people. The fear that many here, including the police, the government officials, and terror analysts have been saying is that it's important to watch all these people who have come back here from Syria and what they may be capable of doing. John?
Okay, Kathy Kiano there on the line with the very latest from Jakarta. And just to recap with what we know at this point, police are saying that there were a number of multiple explosions really caused by grenades. This all happening downtown Jakarta, outside a Starbucks cafe, a shopping mall, not far from a police station. There was a heavy exchange of gunfire. Police saying at least 4 people have been killed, 1 police officer and 3 civilians. But there's a very high probability that those 3 civilians who are dead were in fact the attackers, but that is yet to be confirmed at this point. We should also note that Australia's ABC, the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, reporting that the UN building is in lockdown at this point in time. And as Kathy was telling us, the police there in Indonesia have told her that the hunt is now on for a 4th suspect who is believed to have fled the scene and is believed to be heavily armed. Yeah, indeed. So that continues to be the situation they're following, as we're being told, an individual. This is a situation, of course, we will continue to follow for you. This situation that had been reported that there was heavy gunfire still ongoing. Kathy saying that that does not appear to be the case right now. But of course, this is still a very fluid situation there in Jakarta. Kathy also making the important point that to date, there was a sense that the threat posed by terrorism was somewhat low after successes against a number of Islamist groups operating there in the country. But that may be changing. We're, of course, going to follow the situation very closely for you, what is playing out there in Jakarta, Indonesia, and we will bring you more details as they come into us. We're going to shift gears now.